As we begin this meeting, help us engage in meaningful discussions.
Flag for pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Under public comments, we have Brian.
No.
We got you.
Want to do Brian first? No, Brian is in the presentation, so.
Okay.
All right, so just to comment, we have Mr. Scott Galloway from ARC. If you all recall, ARC was the company that we hired to complete the American Water Infrastructure Act of 2018 requirements from the EPA for the water plant. They already did the risk hazard assessment, and now they just come to a quick briefing on the emergency response plan that's to follow that. In fact, tomorrow we have a tabletop exercise to go over that with the fire chief, PD, the county officials. So I'll let Mr. Galloway come up here and give you a quick presentation. Thank you.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening, sir.
Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys. I'm Scott Galloway, Project Manager with ARC Consultants for the project that David just mentioned. ARC Consultants is based out of Houston, but we have offices scattered across the state. I have one in San Antonio and Brownsville. Also have with me my colleague, Stephen Baruch. And our primary purpose for this trip is for some training exercises we're going to conduct tomorrow with the drinking water utility and some of the emergency responding community and managers. But we just wanted to give you an opportunity while we're here in town to let you know how the project is going on, and we're coming to the final phases of wrapping up the project. ARC was hired to conduct risk and resiliency assessments of the drinking water utility, and then also to develop an emergency response plan. These are federal requirements. They're fairly new. Congress passed the law back in 2018, the America's Water Infrastructure Act. EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, is the manager and regulatory agency overseeing the project. All drinking water systems had to do a risk and resiliency assessment of all hazards, all emergency hazards, such as natural events, tornadoes, earthquakes, floods, winter storms, and then also look at hazards such as cybersecurity threats and civil unrest, anything that would delay or interrupt delivery of water service to your customers. This was a companion to a 2002 Bioterrorism Act that the EPA also administered. Back in 2002, this was fresh after 9/11 event, where the drinking water systems had to look mainly at terrorism events. How would a terrorist attack or threat impact the water utility? And so this time around, they broadened it to look at all hazards. You have to do reporting, self-reporting to EPA right now, and then every 5 years you have to do a recertification to EPA on both the risk assessment and the emergency response plan. So this is the reason I'm mentioning all this background information is because the federal government, EPA especially, is taking drinking water very seriously. It's critical infrastructure for all communities across the country. We want to make sure that the systems are resilient and robust. They can deliver fresh drinking water, safe drinking water to the customers. And then if there is an emergency situation like a winter storm or a flood, how can they be robust and bounce back and get back into service? So we started this project last November, and we broke it up into two phases. The risk and resiliency assessment, and then the phase 2 is the emergency response plan. We worked with David and his team. They were great to work with, very accommodating for us. We started off with a kickoff meeting and a series of video conference workshops, Microsoft Teams. And then we also came on site with the team to look at the water utility system, toured the plants, looked at the system, the schematics, everything from financials, cybersecurity, the SCADA systems, customer billing, everything that the water utility is involved in. And then we came back, took that information, the data back, and used some standard methodology processes to kind of see where the utility ranked. And we used American Water Works Association, the J100 process. This is a process specifically for drinking water systems and wastewater utility systems to look at risk and resiliency. And we also used EPA guidance tools. Fed all that information into a software program. We delivered the final RRA report, the risk and resiliency report, back in June to David and his staff. And the emergency generator, the lack of emergency generators, was the #1 risk associated with the drinking water utility. You have one at plant number 2, and it's a smaller size generator that can't really power the complete plant. And so David has taken action to submit some grant applications to try to obtain more funding for some emergency generators, because you have to have power to run all the equipment. And most of the equipment at both the water plants are all automated, of course, and so you need emergency power. The other thing that David was able to do, too, is become an official member of TexWarn. TexWarn is an organization here in Texas, basically neighbors helping neighbors, water utilities helping other water utilities. But to become a member, you have to, it's free of charge. Basically, you fill out a form and say, here are the resources that we have available. And during an emergency situation, you can call this organization and they will match you up with neighbors that have staff, equipment, resources that can come to your aid and help you try to get your plant or system back online during an emergency. And same thing, like David has mentioned numerous times, that y'all have been able to do that kind of without a formal agreement, helping your neighbors, Alamo, folks like that during emergencies. This just kind of formalizes it and tries to match those resources up through the internet. Tomorrow we're going to be doing some training specifically on the emergency response plan. That was phase 2 of the project. The emergency response plan is a document, a large document that looks at procedures and processes that the utility would do in the event of an emergency. It's a good training tool that David can take and help train his crew and staff with after we leave. And then it's also kind of a roadmap of what happens, who to coordinate with, both on a county, state, and federal level during the winter storm event, or a flood, or hurricane, or something along those lines. It also provides training, as I mentioned, for the staff, but it also provides documentation for federal and state agencies that you may be applying to receive reimbursement dollars after an event, after the tropical storm. And you have to put additional manpower, equipment into the field, and you want to be reimbursed for those dollars. This training tomorrow will help kind of guide them, this document will help guide them on that, and even offer some forms and checklists and things like that on how to make sure you're at the front of the line because you have this documentation in place when it comes to reimbursement dollars.
Would this training also help for like the FEMA matters as well, or?
It will. It'll help show that the community, and especially the drinking water system, is proactive. And FEMA, of course, and EPA likes to see that. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Exactly. It shows that you're being thoughtful and responsive to your community's needs, and it lays that foundation to try to build a robust and resilient utility, and try to get that whole culture of being robust. That, you know, we know what to do. Sometimes during emergency, David and his crew have been great. You know, during the winter storm, they were able to respond to do what they needed to do. But a lot of the times, that information wasn't documented. Now it's documented in this emergency response plan. And so you can give that to FEMA or whoever, whatever federal agency may be requesting it. When an event happens, you're trying to capture those reimbursement dollars. So tomorrow, again, doing training with utility staff and fire chief and some other folks, county emergency manager coordinators, And I think this training is really just going to hopefully develop that sense of culture of preparedness and resiliency, and just continue on documenting exactly what the utility department's already doing.
Where are these trainings held?
We're going to be meeting at fire station number 2.
Okay.
About 3.
Thank you so much.
It's been a great project. We've enjoyed working with the city and the utility department especially. They've been very helpful on getting us the information and documentation that we need, so it's just been a successful project all the way around. So appreciate it.
The next item, Mayor, no more public comments. The next item under presentation, Mayor, Commissioners, we have a presentation of departmental reports. Tonight we have the Department of Planning and Zoning, Department of Parks and Recreation, Department of Sanitation, and some one more library. But before we start, Mayor, Commissioners, I'd like to say that we were attending a ICSC conference over in Las Vegas. It was a very productive conference. As a matter of fact, we signed it over today. I want to say that we were very blessed and very happy to announce. It's just unfortunate we cannot announce it out here, but we'll discuss it further in the next meeting during the executive session as to who and what's coming to the city of San Juan. Just know that within maybe the next month, 2 months, there's going to be more developments coming to the city. So very happy to announce that. And also, having said that, tomorrow there's the lighting of the Christmas tree. Everybody is invited to attend. And not to forget, the Friday we're having the employee Christmas party. Having said that, the good things that are coming to the city of San Juan, we have Mr. Brian Williams here with us that is going to talk to us about what happened during the design award winning that we just wanted. They won an award in a building that's not even built yet, but it's a building of City of San Juan City Hall. So Mr. Williams.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Brian Williams. I'm with the Architects. We're your architect of record for the new City Hall Transit Terminal project. Every year, well, the architectural community is governed by the American Institute of Architects, a nationally recognized organization. We abide by the Code of Ethics and other policies, and we work with them in terms of our statewide licensing for all our architects. And every year throughout the nation and regions, there are annual design awards. And so the local Rio Grande Valley AIA chapter had its annual gala for the first time in 2 years, and they typically award 6 different project opportunities for architectural firms that want to submit. We submitted the San Juan Terminal design, and we were awarded the Spark Award for the San Juan Terminal. And the Spark Award is for innovation and creativity in design. And so I wanted to let you know that, because we're very proud of that, the fact that we won for that building, which is one of our favorite buildings that we've ever designed, because of the historical significance and the linkage to the Basilica and the cultural community, the cultural aspects of the community and the history of San Juan that we incorporated in. So a little bit of respecting the past and then honoring the future of the community, as you all know, for the designs that we've done. But the awards were reviewed and eventually determined by 3 jurors, one architectural firm out of San Antonio, one out of Austin, one out of Corpus Christi. So they did blind jury reviews. They don't know who the firm was. They just saw all the different packages that we submitted. And I brought some comments back about what they said about your building and the design of your building. So if you mind indulge me, I'm going to read these to you so you can hear what they were amazed by when they saw the design of our building. Love the warm and fuzzy feel of this project. Appears to be well thought out, and the renderings are finished and provide a very good sense of place. Love the windows down to the floor. Exterior spaces are realistic. Design of the building also took into consideration spaces for holidays, which indicates additional layer of thought process. The interior lobby space feels spacious, and the customer waiting areas are inviting and comfortable. This building would be a great addition to the city fabric for the city of San Juan and its history. Very nice depiction of the gathering spaces, both indoors and outdoors. A simple presentation with lovely renderings and give a good sense of space. Some people in the exterior renderings would make those spaces come alive when they visit or are at City Hall. The U-shaped entry court gives a nice added gathering space for the community and for events. Simple and clean use of materials, great images, feels like a building that would modernize the area of San Juan while still respecting the local regional architecture. So this award is as much you all's as it is ours. And you all took the opportunity and the vision and foresight to allow us to collaborate together with your team and staff to come up with some very innovative ideas that we've never used before for a government building, specifically with the linkage of the history of San Juan, the fact that you're a community so closely affiliated with a basilica. So there's a lot of religious, spiritual aspect tied to the building. So with that said, and allow me to come to you, Mayor, we would like for you to have this award. And we want to give this to you all so you can put it in City Hall and display it for, now and then eventually to the new building. So with that, I'm going to hand this to you, Mayor.
Wow, this is, yeah.
Sure. Where would you like me to go?
One, two, one more. One, two. There.
So thank you again for the opportunity to have us as your architect. And we can't wait for that building to be done in about a year.
Yeah,
To see what it's going to look like,
neither can we.
especially around the area.
Correct. And it's just, this was the planning that we had for a long time. And, I want to thank, everyone that's involved, even our employees, our directors. They played a big role in this beautiful facility that the city of San Juan's going to get. Like I had mentioned to Mr. Juan, when we first started, putting the pen to the paper and figuring out and how we wanted to implement, the basilica, because, San Juan's known for our church, right? So, when you came back with the drawings and stuff like that, that was just beautiful on the arches and stuff like that. But we also got our employees involved and our directors, because this is going to be their second home, and I wanted them to be a big part of this facility as well. So, I thank them, and I thank you too, Brian, and your firm, the RO, for really stepping up and doing something totally different, innovative. As you can see, people are very excited. Now that they're seeing the construction, it's for real, you know what I'm saying? So I want to thank you so much for...
More than welcome. I can't help but acknowledge Ben.
Yes.
Ben was a real driving push for us and getting all the stakeholders involved and keeping saying, "No, let's go a little further. How about this? How about that?" And so Ben played a real key role in that creativity and that process of design.
Brian,
Yeah.
very happy and we're extremely happy. Now, congratulations to our city manager. Yes, he's been pushing it and making it fairly seamlessly easy process for you, but your firm has really helped us out as far as that aspect, and it shows the work you do. If there's a snag or something, you get through it, and we couldn't be more proud of the service that you've already been doing as your firm. You all and y'all's ideas, stuff, it's showing. Now, we did see that rendering, and we were up here last meeting, and they were beautiful. I know, Mr. Carr, we're going to get those up, some of those renderings and stuff like that. Okay, so that the community can see how the beautiful project. But we're very happy with the service you provided, of course, and I just want to let you know that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well, you all made a wise choice with, and we've already had a series of pre-construction meetings, and we're already off to a good start. And so we think that they're going to do a really, really good job in being able to build what we've designed and build it to look like what we've designed. So we're pretty excited about that. That's where the rubber's going to meet the road. It's when that construction starts.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate
You're more
it.
than welcome,
Thank you,
Commissioner.
sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan, no doubt.
I'm gonna give you these comments here. I want you to have them.
We're gonna put it somewhere. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Thank you so much.
You too, sir.
Bye-bye, Brian.
Yes, thank you.
Now, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Moving on under presentation, we have all department directors here, Mayor Commissioners. Do you have any questions for them?
I guess, the Parks and Rec, I guess this is more towards you, Juan, in reference to the phase one, how we spoke about the last time, in reference to the park over there on the north side. What's your projected time do you think we can maybe start looking into? Well, yeah, get the ball.
Turning dirt, as a matter of fact, we could have asked Mr. Bryan, but they're working on a contract to start moving on the design.
Okay,
And once we do that, I'm hoping that maybe no later than May, we can start looking into doing the turning of dirt.
okay.
Depending on what the different phases, or is it gonna be a turnkey, or is it gonna be on phases like they
I think
They showed us.
the phases, like Mayor's saying, stuff going along with it, but at the same time, for the other phases, we're already aligning ourselves up with the grants and stuff, whatever we may need, because there were some pieces that we needed.
Right. As a matter of fact, we just spoke about that, the mayor and I, about the grant that has been submitted. There was a deadline, and I'm assuming, and I know that Mr. Hollis, Rutledge's office was working on that. And we're waiting on the response from the Texas Water, the Texas Parks and Wildlife for their responses and see how much money they're gonna be awarding the city. But we also have that other opportunity with the CDBG office over up in Austin, that it looks very favorable. And we're hoping that we can at least get phase one and maybe possibly phase two with those monies, once we get them. And if not, there's going to be different options as to how to, how to be resourceful in getting some of those fundings to the city, so we can make it happen more of a turnkey. But we're hoping that at the very latest, no later than May, just like the fire station is going to be hopefully by October, once the city hall is finished, that we can start working with the fire station as well. And we can do that before, we'll do it before.
All right, any questions for the directors?
I have a question for Mr. Willingham. I see that you have some of your leagues that have already closed out. Do you have closing ceremonies, or have those resumed, or how are you doing awards?
They're done at the last games.
At the last
Instead of having a separate ceremony, it was getting a little tough to bring everybody back. So on site, after the last few games, or the last games of the season, we award.
There's no opening ceremonies as of right now?
For baseball and softball,
Okay.
they're outdoor. We haven't had any, obviously, the last couple of years. We're planning on this year having something just to kind of kick off an outdoor, something we haven't had in a couple of years. But we do plan to have that. That would be in late March, first week of April, I'm sorry. Mhm.
The next item under, where are we at? Public hearing and ordinances, we have hold a public hearing for the rezoning request from single-family residence district to multifamily residence district of the 2.53 tract of land out of Lot 2, Block 8, John Clausen subdivision, is requested by Gutierrez Duncan LLC.
Good Mayor and Commissioners, the first public hearing is a rezoning request from residential to multifamily district for a property located just north of the San Juan Post Office along Raul Longoria Road. The applicant is proposing an apartment units on the back of the property with a commercial plaza in the front. To the north, we have the Hazel subdivision, which is a residential subdivision. To the south, Los Jardines subdivision, which is an apartment complex along Amy Drive. To the east, Iglesias Commercial Plaza, and to the west, we have San Juanita Rutledge subdivision. A subdivision plat was received for this property and is under review. The advertisement was in the newspaper and letters were mailed out to the property owners, and we received no comments in favor or against the request. The planning and zoning and staff recommendation is to approve the rezoning request.
Go ahead and open this up at 6:26. Is there anyone here for or against? For or against? Any questions, members of the commission?
Just a couple of comments, Mayor Commissioners. This is the property that is a little bit north of the post office. Like you mentioned, commercial up in the front and apartments on the back. It'll be a beautiful development.
Questions? Any questions?
The board approved it 5-0. That's
Yes.
what you, right? Okay.
We're going to close this at 6:27 PM. Is there a motion to approve? I'll second that. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Next item, consider adoption of an ordinance in the first reading of the voluntary annexation petition of the 10.28 acre tract of land out of Lot 2, Block 31, Alamo Land and Sugar Company Subdivision, as per the map recording volume 1, pages 24 to 26. Map record, Hidalgo County, Texas, requested by 193 South Hardwood Drive, LLC.
This is the first reading of the ordinance for the voluntary annexation petition that we presented before. Is the property located just south of the Sorenson Elementary. The city commission accepted the petition back in September 14, 2021 with a resolution number 21-21. The public hearings were conducted in accordance with the Chapter 43 of the Texas Local Government Codes and back in October and November. And this is just the acceptance of the ordinance or the approval of the ordinance.
Oh, okay. So this is the first reading. Okay. Any questions? We're good? With that being said, is there a motion to approve? I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Under appointment, we have considered the approval and designation of a liaison from the City Commission to the San Juan Memorial Library Advisory Board, stating the bylaws. This is more like an ex-official to the board. Is it seen?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. The bylaws state that a liaison from the City Commission should be appointed to the Library Board. It was approved by the Commission on November 13, 2018. It used to be Commissioner Ramirez, but since he's no longer, at the last meeting, the board discussed this item, and I told them I would bring it to your attention.
Meetings, ma'am.
The meetings are the first Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. here at the library. Yes.
And
There are
is
no
that
meetings-
is that a set meetings all the time? Do they fluctuate sometimes, or
No.
can they be moved by any reason? I mean,
Can be moved according to the board members. Yeah, but
consensus.
that's stipulated in the bylaws.
Thank you.
Yes, and can they
I'm just-
be, sorry.
The reason why I'm asking is because we have two commissioners not here, so we can
Yes.
figure out who. I'm sure all of us want to part. Well, each one of us would like to do it, and the different schedules and the meeting times. So we want to make sure that we're going to be able to attend the meeting. And so, can we maybe table it or
Let's take no action on it. so we
take
can
no
bring it back.
action? And until we have all five of us here, we can decide which one of us,
Okay,
based on our schedules, or and maybe get with you.
yes,
Is that fine, Mayor?
yes.
As far as the verbiage on it, is it a liaison on the bylaws?
I'm
Does it
sorry?
indicate liaison or ex officio?
Liaison, yeah, a liaison. That's how they decided to change it.
No
Take no
action?
action.
Take no action, and maybe, is that fine, Mayor?
Maybe for the next meeting, Mrs. Senator, you can bring us available dates.
Not
so
gonna
the
happen
board will
till
be
next
able
year.
to-
Yes.
Right.
Well, no meetings or in January, July, and August. Those are 3 months out of the year that the board does not meet. Yes.
Why is it that they don't meet in January?
Well, that's what they decided. I mean,
Oh, I got you.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
But it can be called as a special call meeting
Yeah, yeah.
also.
Okay,
I think
no,
there's plenty of time.
we'll just take no action, I guess, at this time.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Under discussion and possible action, we have discussion and possible action to authorize staff to negotiate the proposed chlorine price increase from DX Distribution of 0.12 cents a pound for a total of $13.92 per ton, and authorize the city manager to execute all related documents and budget amendments as required. This is an item, Mayor Commissioners, that we have no control as to what's taking place out in the market with chlorine, with
Pretty much
anything,
everything.
anything that has to do with water and sewer.
All of our chemicals and materials and all have gone up extraordinary. Chlorine of all chemicals is the one that's gone on the worst. In fact, in the form that I provided what the other municipalities and utilities are paying in the valley. That's why I've asked for authorization to negotiate. You see, the form McAllen is paying $11.50 per ton. Alamo is the most expensive, but that's because they don't order as much chemical as everybody else, so they're paying $2,200 plus. Mercedes is the lowest, and the reason why I put them in there is because they are currently being operated by U.S. Water. U.S. Water is one of the largest operations company in the world. Plus they also have a lot of stuff. So they have a huge buying power because they're able to negotiate based on a volume of chlorine, so they're able to pay much less than everybody else does. Westlaco has Inframark. They're paying $1,200. The reason why they're $1,200 is because they're basically local to the state of Texas. They basically fall under the same issues that we're following. And then Sharing Land Water Supply Corporation, they're at $11.20. I did contact North Alamo. They never got back to me, so I had to put it in an agenda. So what I want to try to do is try to negotiate to a price along the lines of what McAllen, Sharing Land, and some of these other municipalities are paying. Because at $13.92, you're going to see me here in March requesting a budget amendment to be able to continue to operate our treatment facilities because I will not be able to buy chlorine. Normally, I know my budget amendments are pretty big. Discontinues are going to be twice as big this year because everything is going up. And unfortunately, that same alkali that goes for chlorine is used to make PVC pipe. So all the projects that we have for water and sewer coming up that are using PVC pipe are going to end up being a lot more expensive than we first anticipated. So I'd like to get authorization to negotiate and try to get that price down somewhere in the $1,100 to $1,200 range, and because based on what the municipalities are paying and utilities in the area.
You guys form like some
I'm glad you brought that up. We are members of the South Texas Water Utility Management Association, and our next is not to February, unfortunately. We're trying to schedule a special meeting for January to try to form a co-op purchasing between all the utilities. When I first moved to the valley in the early 2000s, there was a purchasing co-op. But then something happened and the city stopped playing nice, and with McAllen being the largest chemical consumer in the valley, they jumped off the co-op, and the company that was selling us said, well, if McAllen isn't going to be providing the volume, we no longer want to be part of it. McAllen's on board. Harlingen's on board. North Alamo's on board. Alamo's on board. Even U.S. Water and Mercedes, they're still negotiating because they're private, but most of every single of the utilities that I've talked to, I'm still waiting a response from FAR. I put out a call to the director of utilities there. I know he was busy on some issues with sewer over there. So, but most of the members are on board, so that meeting is for us to get the association, the membership, to form the co-op, so everything goes through that association. Since the bylaws and the charters are already there, we don't have to create a new one, we just use the same association. So they would buy the chemical for us, we just fund, each of the utilities fund, depending on the amount of chemicals. So that's something that we're looking at to try to increase our purchasing power with larger volume and reduce that amount. And not just for chlorine, but all the other chemicals that we use as well. Okay?
Righty. Is there a motion to approve?
second. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Consent agenda, Mayor Commissioners, we only have a couple of items, which is item A and B. Would you like to move forward on both of them or discuss them individually?
Is there anything that we need to modify or amend under consent agenda? Modify or amend on consent agenda, A or B? If not, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting has been adjourned at 6:36 p.m. Thank you.